Hi, I'm Michael Allison. I'm the Commercial Director at Roma Finance. Welcome to another edition of Roma Talks. Before we go any further, please don't forget to like and subscribe to this video on our channel to catch up on the content before and also all the great stuff we've got planned in the future. As always, I'm talking to somebody from the world of property, and today I'm delighted to be joined by Chris Tremlett from UK Homes Network. Hi Chris, how are you?
I'm very good, thanks for having me.
No, absolutely, our pleasure. So before we go any further, tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I'm Chris. I'm the founder or co-founder of UK Homes Network. We're relatively new, so we launched on the 31st of Jan. My background is I've been in property for about 12 years. Much of that as an estate agent for about 8 years. Right. So during that period, I was, sort of started off making tea for the person that makes the coffee, and then worked my way up to actually outvaluing, and then helping developers with acquisition strategies and seasoned landlords expanding their portfolio, that kind of thing.
Wow, so obviously a real starting from the bottom and moving all the way up to being a key part of the property ecosystem there, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I mean, it definitely had its challenges, but it was a really fun job because you got to sort of see so many different properties, meet so many different individuals. But I think it's where my sort of passion for property really started, being able to sort of understand the dynamics of the way different houses work in terms of whether it's structural issues, that kind of thing. So.
Oh, good. Every estate agent I speak to seems to always have a really good story that they love to share. Is there anything exciting happening in your time as an estate agent?
Yeah, well, my brother, if he's watching this, he'll roll his eyes because it's a usual story I pick up. But when I was during my time as an estate agent, I was on Homes Under the Hammer twice. This podcast is probably going to go a lot better than what I did under Homes Under the Hammer because it probably took me about 15 takes just to get the price out. But yeah, it was a good experience.
Oh, listen, in our house, we love Homes Under the Hammer. I think Mrs. She also works in the lending business, so we have a game against each other about what that end value will be. So I don't recognise you from that. So I must have to catch up on your episode at some point.
Oh, please don't, because I've got a massive cold sore on my face. My hair's all a mess. It's I definitely wasn't prepared for it.
Well, you're looking better today.
Thanks.
So obviously, estate agency.
Yeah.
That was 8 years. What happened next?
Well, it's quite funny because my partner actually works for Antico Flooring, and when we were on our first date, she told me what she did, and I kind of sort of sighed, and she said, what's that for? And I said, well, you're the reason I'm not in a estate agency anymore, because I couldn't be bothered arguing with people that their house wasn't worth 50 grand more because they had Antico flooring down or they painted a bit of skirting board. So I think every estate agent, tends to have sort of a lifespan within that particular role. And I think I was more interested in the reason why people buy property and the properties themselves than actually going out and value them day after day. So it kind of led me to sort of experiment a little bit and work more towards on how to boost the profile or the branding of the particular office I was working in. So decided to retrain in marketing.
Right. Okay. And from that, is that marketing is where you've been since then, or any other changes? Or
yeah, I mean, so after I left a estate agency, I actually fled the country for a year.
Right. Okay.
So I basically did what they call a gap year, and went and sort of traveled around Europe, that kind of thing. And when I came back, I was sort of fully committed to doing marketing, and I guess with the property industry, if people listening to this at home, it might resonate with them that once you're in property, it's very, very difficult to get out. Mm-hmm. So even though I'd retrained in a completely new field, property was still calling me back. So I ended up working for a property finance broker and also quite a well-known house builder.
Well, so by this point now, you've done the full spectrum, haven't you? You've made the teas to see how people sell houses. Yeah. You've been at the forefront of strategy. Then you're doing marketing to draw people into the property world. Yeah. And then also lending money or finding lending solutions and building houses as well.
Yeah. So
you've got quite a full box of tricks.
I guess so, yeah. I mean, I've been lucky enough to see how all the moving parts work within the industry. And I strongly believe that property itself is a spectrum. So whether you start off as an accidental landlord, maybe come into inheritance of someone's property, or you decide that you want to invest in your first property, and then it's a spectrum leading up to a full-blown house builder, where as momentum builds, you build your portfolio, you'll be looking at new strategies, whether it's BRR or HMOs, and then eventually looking to build your own. And I feel that I'm sort of best placed in a position to have witnessed that journey, right from, as I say, your accidental landlord right up to your full-blown house builder.
And I think as well, it's the spectrum of how somebody can grow as their portfolio grows or their opportunities grow. But it's also the vast amount of people who are involved in that ecosystem.
Yeah.
Everybody's operating within their own niche.
Yeah.
Everybody's there to support people who are either renting properties or developing properties or building properties. And I think obviously UK Homes Network lends itself into that niche.
Yeah, definitely. Well, one of the things that I've experienced is that property professionals tend to only ever network with other property professionals. Whether you're on social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, all that kind of stuff, it's very rare that you see estate agents or finance brokers, lenders, or surveyors networking outside of the industry. We're an incredible industry in terms of the levels of support and collaboration that goes on, and I don't think that until now with UK Homes Network we've particularly harnessed that very well.
Listen, I think everything's always sometimes about looking outside and bringing it back in. So tell us a bit more about how UK Homes Network started then.
Yeah, so I in my last role was working for a well-known prop tech company. I was brought in basically to establish their community-based platform, which was where their customers could network, talk about what was happening within the industry, and generally sort of, work on projects, find deals, that kind of thing. And I think the thing with that platform is that because it was provided by a software solutions company, it always felt like to the members there was a bit of an upsell going on. And they also felt that, that it could be better with more people coming in from other areas of the property industry. And I was actually working with my brother. Quick disclaimer, I have actually worked with my brother 4 times in a state agency. They always say never work with family, but I've tried it, I've tested it, it's fine. So me and David were working together, and then we both got made redundant. And that kind of started the wheels in motion, where I realised that if there was an independent network, an independent social media platform just for property industry professionals to network, then it could really grow, and we could harness that collaboration, the levels of partnership that go on within the industry. And so UK Homes Network was born.
I think the secret, certainly at Roma, we believe the secret to good networking and good relationships is you've got to put more in than you expect to get out.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes people who, if they're going to network to look for just things for them and not willing to reinvest what they can do back into that network, it becomes a bit of a closed shop, and that really doesn't add value. So how do people add value back into your network then?
Yeah, it's the exact same concept, that the work that you put into your profile, or boosting your personal brand within UK Homes Network, that level of work that you put in, you will get out. So it's a case of, if you're showing up, every week, posting, sharing success stories, talking about discussion topics within the industry, or generally just advertising your business, quite quickly you can create a personal brand with our membership and find that there's new opportunities with people across the industry. And that's what we're really hoping for, is that with our platform, I mean, I listened to on the train up, you had a conversation with Sam Hyde, and you said that social media was quite a challenge, and that's the same for most people in the property industry. So if you look at the average developer, not only have they got to keep up with so much in terms of planning reforms, just general legislation that's coming quick fire, they then are being told they need to do more on social media. And unless you're digitally marketing trained, to get your head around the algorithms, everything that's going on social media, you'll go out and put a post out and it'll get 0 to no traction. And then before you know it, your confidence is knocked and you're back to square one. So with UK Homes Network, what we've done is basically remove the algorithms. We verified the network so that you're only ever going to be, networking with property professionals. And we ensure that because that network is verified, your inbox doesn't fill up with like the AI generated spam messages that most people get day after day. And we think that is the best way to harness collaboration across the industry, is stripping social media back to its rawest form, not having algorithms decide how popular your post is, and letting people decide for themselves whether they want to interact with someone or engage with someone.
I suppose what that then does is it removes the echo chamber mentality that you're only seeing what you're clicking into.
Yeah,
it gives you that broader spectrum to see. Social media is a challenge. I'm on the wrong side of my mid-40s, so for me it's a challenge, and there's people who are much more adept at it in our business. But one thing we have to be cognizant of is that it's the next generation of property developers, they've lived with social media all their lives. So as somebody's entering into that 20 plus space, or maybe even into their early 30s, they've lived around social media. So they are utilizing social media to interact with lenders, with brokers, and with other property professionals. So I think it's important for businesses like ours and dinosaurs like me to make sure that we are embracing social media. And what you're doing there is you're giving the opportunity for people to utilize it, but utilize it in a way that they'll see what they want to see.
Yeah, definitely. And I think you've hit a sort of crucial nail on the head there, is that, for the people that are more experienced within the industry but less adapt to social media, by using a stripped back version of social media just aimed at property professionals like UK Homes Network, they've got an opportunity to share that level of experience without necessarily having the training on social media with the newer recruits or newer people that are coming into the industry. So we can actually share that wealth of information a lot quicker, and generally become a lot more of an inclusive industry.
Fantastic. So what's next for UK Home Network? What's the next plans?
Yeah, so we're adamant that we want to be the #1 social media platform for the property industry in the UK. So our basic membership is growing quite rapidly at the moment. I think when we first spoke to Roma, we barely had 50 members, and now we're over well over 300. So we're trying to grow the membership as quickly as possible so that there's enough networking opportunities for everyone. And generally just working with great companies like Roma so that we can share that wealth of information that's so needed by lesser experienced developers, investors, but also sort of rehashing some of the basics with the more experienced.
Absolutely. As I'm sure you're aware, Roma, we're celebrating our 15-year anniversary or birthday, I guess, this year. And we all came from doing one thing once, doing that first transaction and setting the wheels in motion to, from when Scott, our founder, did it. Now we're a 60-strong business and with a multi-million-pound loan book. So everybody has to start somewhere. We're a big advocate of supporting people who are trying to add value into the space that we operate in and into that networking. So that's why we're a real big advocate of the things that you're doing.
Great.
Excellent. So I suppose if you want more information about how to become a subscriber, the details will be underneath the video as well. Thank you very much, Chris, for coming today. You've done much better than you did on Homes Under the Hammer by all accounts.
Cheers.
And don't forget to click like and subscribe. Let's make sure that we're watching all the old videos and keeping ready for the new ones. Thanks very much for joining me, and goodbye.
Thanks.